All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank. Femi, before we get started, I just want to make sure you can hear me and I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Hey, I don't want you because every time you say, "Oh, yes," I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hear you tonight. Okay, good.
Hey, start out by saying that greetings everybody. Hope all is well with everyone. I was on the last, I believe I was on the last one, and I was quiet, and everything was fine. I heard everything, but all of a sudden, it went back to the same time that one time where I didn't hear nothing no more.
Mm.
I don't know what's up, man. It's probably my phone, but hopefully that's not the case tonight. And I was also driving too, I think. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Maybe it's something to do with driving.
That's the. I think one of the major issues is this platform is very specific about being inside the house.
Oh, okay.
And us being there a
Mhm.
sustainable internet because of how they operate the follow drive. So I just wanted to make sure because I feel like every time you get ready to say something, you get cut out and you don't get the you be like on the outside. Uh,
Got you. Yeah, yeah. I'm engaged today.
all right. With that being said, let me say good night to everybody. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank, the 60 to 90 minutes of fatherhood conversation where we take the time as fathers to talk about father issues that affect fathers, all by fathers, fathers in all different dynamics and all different demographics. We will, take the topic that we're going to have tonight, discuss it, and every father's viewpoint is important as well as to be able to have this discussion and for people who are watching to maybe hear how father's perspective about certain topics. Tonight's topic is unlike topics we usually have in the past. We have some kind of question or whatever, but tonight our it is more of a statement, and we're going to kind of support that statement as fathers who are here tonight in the platform. Um, the key point tonight's topic is Black fathers are necessary and needed. I think this is that could just say fathers are necessary and needed, but I put the emphasis on Black fathers because we have a stigma, stereotypical idea in our community that maybe these fathers are not needed, or people believe that they're not being utilized in the way that they should. So tonight, hopefully, we can get some comments, some questions, and some concerns answered on tonight's conversation. I want to give the opportunity for the fathers who are here to introduce themselves. Again, I'm Dr. Ron, the Fatherhood Think Tank curator. I put all things together, get things together, so we can get this think tank going and have fathers really uh, pour into the tank. Hopefully, for people to out there in the world who is like, sharing, subscribing, to fill up their cup from some of that tank. Let me get some of the fathers go ahead and introduce themselves tonight, and then we'll get into this conversation.
Already. My name is Rohan Rodok. I'm a father of two young adults. As I always say, it's a pleasure being on the program. Whenever I try to be here as much as I can. There are sometimes I have to step away, but my heart is always here, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight and to share this wonderful topic about fathers. Black fathers are needed and necessary.
All right. Good night, Rohan. Good to see you finally.
Yes, my friend. Be here.
Yeah. Good evening, brothers. My name is Femi Fakinlade. I'm also a father of two amazing young men, ages 16 and 13. I live in Bowie, Maryland. Um, I guess that's it for now.
All right, man. Welcome, my man, my man. You back. You came to see us again. Good night, my good brother.
TT.
I don't know.
Hello?
Yeah, what's up? Long time no
Hold
see,
on.
stranger.
Man, this thing here. Hold on.
We hear you. So don't say nothing crazy.
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah, you're
I
clear.
can't hear y'all if y'all can hear me. I can't hear
Yeah.
y'all for some reason. I
Oh,
just got a call and it messed up everything.
oh yeah.
Um,
So he went out. He went out. Come back in. Well, while he's doing that, let me do it real quick to run through our sponsors of the Fatherhood Think Tank, the people who support us weekly, or a reason why we're able to have some of this show go off and pop off the way it is. It's always important to recognize the people who sponsor, and they're not just sponsoring us, but they're also sponsoring you. So
Mhm.
sponsoring you. So let's definitely be able to look at this and look at first and foremost. I thought he would be here tonight, but he's not. Let's look at a JAG attorney at law. Um, JAG attorney at law, Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. If you're looking for an attorney in the South Florida area, I can always suggest to you JAG attorney at law. That's Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. You can reach him at his email, j.gaspar@jag1law.com. His phone number 305-827-8087. If you want to see the type of law that he practices, what he can help you with, is to go over to www.jag1law.com. That is our major sponsor of the Fatherhood Think Tank. Now, let's go to our partnerships within the Fatherhood Initiative arena. They are through the through the through the fraternity that's been supporting Fatherhood Think Tank from the beginning, Omega Psi Phi. We have three. We have actually three chapters that support us and partnership with us and with this Fatherhood Initiative. And let's start with our first chapter. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Let me get it right. I don't want to get beat down. First chapter is Fort Lauderdale Brothers. That's the Zeta Chi chapter of Omega Psi Phi in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Those brothers have been a key partnership with the Fatherhood Think Tank since its creation. I mean, it was with us when we were Fatherhood Talks. It was with us when we was working in conjunction with prenatal care as a father's group, fatherhood mentorship. So they've been there in that partnership, and we continue that, and we respect that partnership. We also have two new partnerships that we definitely love and appreciate. Um, our international partnership with the Zeta Xi New chapter of Omega Psi Phi and Lagos, Nigeria. Those brothers are definitely working in another capacity, looking to build, build this Pan African gap, and also fraternity gap as a supporting sponsor of the Fatherhood Think Tank um, through their partnership, through their Fatherhood Initiative. And then our last chapter, that is a supporting factor of the Fatherhood Think Tank, is Omega Lambda in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia Qs. They are, again, another partner in the Fatherhood Initiative chapter. That's a partnership with the Fatherhood Think Tank. And it's in the partnership of that fatherhood uh, fatherhood and mentoring program initiative that they have within the fraternity overall. And those are the chapters that we have partnerships with and work with. So they're looking for the big things from those chapters, and in your area or in nationwide. So we're so happy to have those partnerships and get things going.
Right.
All right, so let's get back to Tay. I guess you can hear now, right, my brother?
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear me. I can hear y'all now.
All right, go ahead and get your introduction, who you are, and children, and all that.
Oh yeah, how y'all doing, man? I'm Tay Warburton. I used to be a consistent member. I had to take a little break. I'm a father of three, two boy. Come on, father of three, two boys, one girl. I run a podcast, Our Own Opinions. I also have a pest control company, which is W Pest Control, that I'm getting off the ground. But I'm back. I've been going for almost a year. Had to pick up a night job. I'm back though. I'm definitely back. Glad to see it. Glad to see everything still going.
Hey, Tay, let's talk about that for 1 minute. As you're able to come back, you say you've been gone a year, right?
Yeah.
You're able to come back today. What does it mean to you to know that this think tank is still here for you to be able to, pour into or either pour from? What does it mean to you to say what you know that we didn't stop, or it wasn't just like a a, a thing we was doing for a moment and a time? That the realness of what it is that we're doing over here.
Yeah, man. It means everything. Honestly, even from back when I first joined it, just to have something that you know black men can just go to and just have a conversation, and just converse, just lay it all out there, man. Like I always love when black people, we just not even black men, just get along. We don't always have to be fighting. We don't always have to be arguing. We can have a conversation, call each other brother, and have dinner and have a drink or a beer. What I'm saying, the next day or like an hour after. So this right here thing means everything. Like I always see the notification and everything. I'm just like for the whole year I was just upset. I'm like, man, I'm working Tuesday night. I'm working Tuesday night. Like I said, I can't make it at all. I clock in at 6:30. I take lunch at 12 o'clock. So there was no way I was gonna be able to make it. And just for the past year, man, I just you know what? I literally just cannot wait till I get back. So today was just the first day of the new day job that I had got, and I got off, and then I realized today was Tuesday. Then the notification came through the app, and I was just like, you know what? I'm back. I'm gonna get back on, man. This right here, everything. And I already had Ethan used to talk when I was here like a year ago, just like, man, we definitely have to. I don't know if y'all already met up, what I'm saying, since I've been gone. But I was like, man, we all definitely have to meet up and create like a brotherhood. Definitely.
Without a doubt, man. I'm so glad. Big part of this, and I say to people who are watching, people who may come across whatever. I'm saying this to you, and I'm saying in the real. This is not a fly by night thing. This is something that we are really committed to, and it's not something that is like, oh well, what they're gonna be doing next week. Is what one day we're gonna be saying we taking donations. Hit the Cash App, hit the Zelle, hit the it's not. We don't. This is. You don't need to hit a Cash App. You don't need to hit a Zelle. You don't need to do those things to have a conversation. And I think that's a big part of all we need. All we need is for the fathers to come to have that conversation. That's what we. When I'm saying what I would rather spend my time begging fathers for and begging is to come on to the platform. We don't need. Listen, if we don't need no donations. We need the donations. We need is of you, the father, who can enlighten us on something that we might not be in this group of fathers being able to pinpoint. And I think that's the real pleasure of this. Yes, it costs money, certain stuff, but that's not important. What's important is how many of you fathers out there we can get to come on and be able to listen. Because I'm telling you, every day, I'm gonna tell you today, I was having a conversation with someone about a father, and they were so disgruntled about how the father acted about something, right? And I almost had to break down to them is that y'all are all mad at him, and you're kind of like upset with him, and you're saying you don't understand why he is different than when he was when the child was young and all. Well, because of a lot of things has happened. And I said to him, imagine this. If somebody wants me as a father to have supervised visitation, right? And I ain't never did nothing wrong. I ain't never been a wrong, probably never did nothing bad. That might rub me the wrong way. Because it seems suspicious at some point to me also. Because I had a child when they was the most vulnerable, early in their life when they was the most vulnerable. When they was a baby, and when we was on good terms, and now we're not on the best of terms, and now I need supervision to deal with my child. And I just tried to explain to the person that, hey, the father may just be uncomfortable, and some of the things he don't know how to do, and again, I say I have these kind of conversations all the time. But what I got out of that conversation that was so important is that, and how we got to this topic is the child involved in this situation. It is so prevalent that she needs her father. I mean, in a point that as a father figure to her that I can be, I see almost what if she was a daughter to me, the things she really needs, and it really touched me today to realize that after having that conversation and looking. So I'm saying I'm starting to preface this conversation with everybody, and I'll get Lightborn and Ed in here to introduce themselves as we're moving on. That just an answer to the statement that I'm saying. I'm saying that Black fathers are necessary and needed. And as you, what is your thought about that idea for Black fathers being necessary and needed?
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, and I see the other young man. He's talking, but he don't know he's on mute. He's talking though, but he don't know he's on mute. I mean, I hope he can repeat that whole conversation because I can see him talking, but he don't know he's on mute. You're still on mute. See the guy in the right corner with the glasses on.
Yeah. Oh, Femi, can you hear us?
Oh shit! I said a lot. You hear me now?
Okay, now you can talk.
Sorry, I didn't say that much. I didn't say that much. Let me rewind it. I just realized I was on whatchamacallit. But anyway, at a very basic level, the importance of a father being around is what we're talking about, right? The importance and the necessity and the importance is at the very basic level. It took a man to make the offspring, right? So, there's a reason. I think there's a reason why the fact that one gender was instrumental in creating another human being, that individual or that gender would play a part in raising that individual, right? I don't think the creator or the higher power meant for it to be create and leave, create and not instill, or not, because you got anybody can make a child, but child rearing. So you got to rear the child. You can't just breed the child. You have to rear it. So I think that at a very basic level might have been the whole idea of it, you know. So to your question, the importance, and we see it all played out, just like what you said, your conversation earlier, you had a strong, you knew that this young lady could do with a father in her life, right? So that's the thing, you know. I mean, fathers are needed. A woman, a mother can't teach a boy or a girl things that a father could teach. Now, I think last week we talked about, okay, father and dad, right? So now we're talking about fathers. So you're not talking about dads this time, because that's the next, you know, my thing on that, the father and dad. And what one thing I wanted to say last week was that obviously we use the two terms interchangeably, right? But I think dad is more of a looser term than dad. It's just so loose. Because you know, shit, you can call anybody dad. You can call anybody daddy. It can be a sexual term, but you can't call sexually someone father. You know, well, maybe, you know, in certain circles that probably would fly. But but back to this topic, yeah. So my thing is, you know, fathers are important. They're needed. They're valued. Um, they are. You know, they play a part. They play a positive part. Now, obviously, that's a father that's um in their right environment, in their right state of mind, right? To be able to play a part, because the more the father, or the person for that matter, is in the right state of mind, and once in I wouldn't say is excited about raising kids, because you know, you don't have to be excited, but you have to accept the fact that you brought this individual or this offspring into the world, so you have a responsibility. So you don't have to be there, but you have to realize or accept the fact that you have a part to play. You should have a part to play in the raising of that child. So I'll stop right there to see if anyone has any questions on what I said or can compound off of that.
Tina, you did your introduction yet?
No, sir. No, sir. My name is Ed Tenney. Uh, I'm a father of three um, really grown adults and three grandbabies. And I remember telling this story um, before on the think tank. I'll keep it short and sweet and tell it again. Um, I never knew at the time how much I needed the approval of my dad. Uh, just living life. There was a time that I invited uh, him and my mom to the house. The kids were young. I think the youngest was like 4 or something like that, and just showing him around the city because they had retired to Texas, and uh, showing him around, um, letting him be exposed to the family, the things that I was doing, and uh, out of the blue, I'm driving him somewhere. Don't even remember where we were going. He blurted out, "I'm proud of you, son." And I tell you, I just hearing those words from my dad, um, because he was kind of like the silent type. He wasn't an extremely verbal dad. No monologues and stuff that I can distinctly remember. But I'll never forget that moment. Driving in the car and him just saying, "I'm proud of you, son." And I don't know. I just needed to hear that. I didn't know that I needed to hear it, but after hearing it, it was like I was on a mountaintop with the things that I was doing, trying to take care of the family, take care of the house, take care of the wife, and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, uh, from that respect, fathers are definitely needed, whether they know it or not. Um, uh, they can speak life, or they can speak um, the other into their kid's life. And at that moment, my dad spoke life into my heart. And you know, my mother, always, told me, she was good and everything with the stuff that I was doing. But just hearing it from my dad just made all the difference in the world.
Wow.
No, that's awesome. Well, Teeny, I remember you actually telling that story a few fatherhood think tanks back, and it was just as inspirational now as it was then. But as far as our fathers needed, I'm like, they're needed. They're needed from conception to succession. So it doesn't. I mean, literally from the point of conception to the end of succession, you're gonna need fatherhood. I mean, and that's not just biologically, but holistically. You just cannot say fathers are not needed, because I'm like, well, then that would almost be impossible. You can't have a child without a father. Now people can say, okay, well, you get artificial insemination, but I'm like, you still need to extract the sperm from a man. So I mean, you still wouldn't win that argument. So even if you think you didn't need a father sociologically, yeah, you still would need him biologically. And I think sociologically, it just empowers the need of that child. I think a child can grow up, have the whole outlook as supposed to happen. I mean, I'm not against single parents. I mean, that's a sacrifice, but having both parents is a success. And so I think we compensate too much for our shortcomings and disabilities. I'm talking about human beings in general, and we have to find a way to stop settling for the half and start shooting for the whole, as it pertains to not only ourselves but the children. And oftentimes you hear, the sky's the limit when it comes to us and our ambitions and stuff like that, and then we shortchange everything else. The children, you want the most for yourself, and half the you want the whole battle for yourself and half the battle for your children, and that's a little dysfunctional within itself. But I think on both ends, the effort should be equally as uh, important as opposed to being in that child life. And sometimes you just got to figure it out. It's not as judicial as we make it out to be. It's more, I guess, more simple as it pertains to just being considerate of each other. I know a lot of people think like, oh, most people are not reasonable. I'm like, okay, so if you're dealing with, the only reason to deal with a reasonable or unreasonable person is to be a reasonable person. That's almost factual. We've had trainings at the Fatherhood Think Tank that taught strategies on, like, if a person is talking high, you talk low in order to bring balance to the conversation. Well, I think the same strategy or philosophy should apply to not just parenthood, but any relationship, but specifically parenthood when it comes to raising our children. On the flip side of that, we're going to still have to apply that same philosophy to our children as well. And so I'm going to be honest with you. If you're probably not getting along with your spouse or the significant other of that child, you're probably not going to get along with the child, because it's just going to become a matter of time before before you get into a disagreement with that child that's going to have you to interact with that child like you do with the mother. And so I think the ownership, the onus is on particularly us as men to figure out how to be a head in situation, or how to be the head in situations we're no longer the head of. And so that's a whole conversation within itself, but I'm going to leave it right there and let somebody else jump in. It's good to see you here, Tay. I ain't see you in a minute, Tay. Where you been, boy?
How you doing?
Man, it's good to see you back in the place.
Man, good to see you too, man. I was going for a
Yeah, I
while,
just
man.
missed all that. I don't know. It must be something with my phone or the app, but I just missed everything. I think Brother Lightborn, right? That's your name. You were talking. You were talking right now, right?
Yeah, I was talking.
And
Did
before
everybody else hear
that,
me?
the young man with I think 3 kids, one with a daughter. He had locks. You know, he was talking too, and I couldn't hear him neither. But now all of a sudden it comes back, and I can hear y'all. So I don't know. Maybe it's something. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this, but it happens all the time. I thought it was a connection problem. But anyway, I'm back, so I guess I can hear you for now.
Yeah, we
Well,
can hear you too, fam.
to add to black fathers are needed and necessary, there's many different lenses you could look at that. There are many different ways you could look at that statement. We're talking, as you gentleman mentioned, Femi mentioned, from inception to graduation, to teaching your child how to drive, to watching them get married. The role never ends. We come on earth to reprocreate to some extent, to a major extent. And our goal is to teach. That's it. Teaching is discipline. And mind you, we have learned behaviors, and some are good and some are bad. But definitely we're needed. We know that our prison system, and I'm sorry to put this in the chat, is holding a lot of people with mental issues. It's not really a prison, it's a mental ward. And many of those fathers are young men or women, they're missing a parent. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. A lot of training that fathers are needed, that fathers need to help their child or even their nephew to survive. Now, do we have answers here to fix this problem? Maybe, maybe not. But as you said earlier, let's continue teaching these fathers, because we know that we want to change the system that's in place, that unfortunately put some of our young black men into prison. And fathers out there who may not believe this, the mom may say, hey, you know what, I don't need you, but let something happen to that child, guess who they call your dad, call your father. Ain't that ironic, right? You're not needed in one point, next point call your dad, which we see that happen all the time. So definitely black fathers are necessary and needed in more ways than one. And never give up. No matter if you have to do a night job, if you have to, the going is rough, but just stick it out and do your best. That's what I always say. Food for thought. Yep.
So I want to, as I listen to everybody, kind of, I want to piggyback off of a few things that are so important. Let me go back to originally Tenny's point of being a grown up, right? Being a grown man, and at some point getting the nod from his father to say, "Hey, I'm proud of you. That you are well done, or you did something that I can acknowledge as another man." Because remember, a lot of times, not a lot of people giving you praise or even saying, good job keeping up. But sometimes they just have the expectation that you should do what you do. There's not. You ever heard that? Say, I'm not gonna give you no praise for getting up and going to school. You're supposed to go to school every day. You're supposed to make good grades. You're supposed to do those things. But I think that sometimes when we're looking at fatherhood, we sometimes don't really take in the context, as I say all the time, that the playbook is not very clear. There is not like a handbook to tell you in all the different scenarios that you may become a father, right? What to do and how to operate. A lot of times you have fathers who are still dealing with the shock over 20 years later that they are a father. They could have moved on, got married, been a stepfather to other kids, but still don't know how to approach that kind of father position with their own kids. I really want you to think about that. The idea that you somewhere being able to be father of the year with some other kids that in many instances you may not have you don't have the nature. You have the nurture with them, but you really don't have the nature. But you don't know how to kind of engage your very own children. And sometimes because of, maybe as a father, our own feeling of I wasn't ready, or I wasn't. I think Femi said this. Some people are not even ready. I don't have the ability to be a father, and a lot of times we look at that and we don't put all of that in play. We just and then we do this thing right here that happens all the time. We compare it to the mom, right? We compare a father to the mom. Let's say, well, the mom was ready. Moms don't get no choice if they're gonna be ready. They don't. But they do. They very well do get a choice if they're gonna be ready. If that's gonna happen, they have a whole 9 months from the time that they know they're gonna be a parent to make a decision and adjust their body. Now, again, this is not saying that they don't, that's bad or good. I'm just saying that they have an opportunity and they know it. They experience it because they are the vessel that the child comes through. So there's not no like one day they wake up and I'm a mom. No, you don't just wake up and be a mom. You can one day wake up and find out you're a father. And how do you begin to even put your mind into that capacity and know what to even do? Because if you wasn't even planning, you wasn't even thinking, you wasn't even operating in a father space, this like, yo, you gotta swim in acid. You don't get to swim in water, just jump in that acid, man, and get to swimming. I don't know how to do that. Well, put this suit on. You got to put this certain suit on, and you got to be a certain way. You got to do all these things so you can swim through the acid. Well, I know how to swim in water if I plan to swim in the water, but sometimes that's the kind of shock that you may see in father. And the problem with that shock is that child needs that father. Mm-hmm. As well as I always say, the father needs that child. It's not a one-way street like, oh, I'm just going to guide you and teach you and I'm going to do, because from Ed's component of what he described, it changed. He remembers this situation because it is a father recognizing, I would say, the proudness of his child and saying that I didn't even know I did all of this work for this boy to be this kind of man. And vice versa, a child finally who thought their father he just nodded head good. Yes. Yes. Yeah. No. And to hear a verbalization that you heard many times from mom. You hear all the time, Mom, you my baby. You go to the dad say, man, I'm proud of who and what you are. That people can't even begin to, see that phenomenon because you can't experience unless you may be that father. Yes. As a mother may be able to hear somebody say, "Oh, you're a good mom," but they don't hear the words too often that you're not a good mom because you're a mom and no one can challenge you being the mom, even if you're good or bad, because you are normally the mom. That's not the same. I don't sometimes see it being the same autonomy that fathers have, because someone can make a determination if you are good or not good based on their experience with you or how they perceive you. There, it doesn't matter in the comparison of the mom, because guess what? I'm a good mom because guess what? You came through me. So just that you hearing it live, I hear it so many times. I hear it all the time. Well, I'm the one who pushed you out of here. So your grace and your anything should always be graciousness, appreciation, accommodation, acceptance for that. Where sometimes you don't get that same type of level for it. Dads have to actually go and prove something, do something. They got to go out and they need to have some receipts that will make them in that capacity that they could even be acknowledged sometime as a father. And I think that for us as Black fathers, that is what somewhat is difficult, because if there was a playbook, there is a basic mother playbook. Basic mother's playbook. It's not always that simple for what a father's playbook look like.
Right. Wow. And fathers. Yep. Wow. Necessary and needed. Keep in mind, I always say this, things can change in a relationship. You can have the mom is out sick and the father have to play the role of the mom. Things happen. So that the father is needed, right? Because the father needs to prepare a meal, get the child ready to go to school. We really need to delve into being a father, because there's so much layers involved. Right now, I want to bring this up in this group, and hopefully folks can hear it. We have an issue where many fathers are leaving kids, infants under 3 years old, in cars. I don't know if any of you guys been hearing about that. That's a big issue.
You say fathers are doing it or parents are doing it?
Most times it tends to be the father, because I believe, keep this in mind, that sometimes the mom is seen as the nurturer who drops the child to daycare, and let's say she has to go to the dentist. So she says to the dad, drop the child to the daycare today. Father goes to the daycare. Most times, most fathers are stressed. Being a father can be a stressful situation. Tired. And he goes there, and he goes back in the evening, and the child is still in the car. This is a situation. I bring this up in this medium because I want everyone to know. And let me make this clear. There are some couples who are on some form of drug, and some women who are, it happens often. I don't want to blame fathers per se, but we have to advocate for those infants under 3 years old. It seems to be happening very common, and we have to make every effort to do what we can do. And in doing so, I always say, people don't leave their phones. If you have to put your infant in the back seat, put your phone beside that infant, because most times we won't forget our phones. I just want to bring it up, so if someone hears this, we can spread the word, because we got to advocate for these young men and young women who are being left in hot cars, and who unfortunately expire in those kind of situations. It's food for thought.
I think Rohan, you are giving a great moment for people to think about. But here is the dilemma, in that it also goes a little bit further. Like, what is your engagement with your children? Because if your normal engagement with your children is that on a level of a 95, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus it being a 15, you would never do that because 95% of the time you will know that I got to kick the kid out the car with me. When you are doing an engagement at a 15,
Mm-hmm.
what happens? You think that if the kid don't make no noise, they still sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And you forget that you're supposed to go to the daycare, you ride right to work. And next thing you know,
I don't think, in all fairness, I don't think that particular parent wasn't 15. He was a 95. And the reason we know he was a 95 is because the daycare workers said he was a 95. See the
Mm-hmm.
difference? So I don't want to mischaracterize his father because the daycare workers was exact. I mean, it was spot on. We were like, no, he's been bringing the child to the daycare for years. They didn't even say one day; they said like years, and they know the
Mm-hmm.
family very well. And
this is an
so,
actual thing that happened.
yeah, that actually happened last week.
Oh, I thought it was hypothetical. I didn't know this was something that just recently happened.
No,
I was
actually
right. So kind of what I'm saying is a hypothetical, looking at the idea of, in many instances when people are leaving their kids, is because that's not their normal routine. But in this case,
Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ron, because we know that when you have children, there's a court system, as you mentioned, different values. Children, mom and dad ain't getting along, and we know that the mom can call the father and say to the father, "You need to drop your kid to school today. I got to go to work." So again, it's different lenses how we can look at it. Remember, we as fathers here, we advocate for children. That's our goal here. While we're still here, and we're probably going to be here the next many years to come.
you know, as you bring that up, I think about, we also have to, because I seen a recent thing that it was in Florida. I don't remember where it was, but the dad insisted on taking the child to the pool. And the mom was like, no, don't do it. Right? Don't do it. The father took the child to the pool. And guess what happened?
Well,
he fell asleep and the child passed away in the pool. The people who worked at the hotel seen the child floating in the pool. He's still over there knocked out.
That's right.
You know, and so in all intentions, his intentions was well, but understand your limitations.
That's right.
You know, because here we are a lot of time, and I'm using that as an example. That's a extreme example, but that happens a lot of times where we have good intentions for trying to be engaged, trying to be the father, trying to be a certain kind of father, and in some instance, not really being unsure about our limitations and accepting that we may have some limitations.
Yes, we do. Yes,
and if we do, regulate ourselves by them and begin to say, listen, because at the end of the story, that there was a teenage kid who was also in the room sleeping. So if the teenage kid was sleeping, why you take the kid, the mom on the phone telling you, don't take the kid out to the pool, dad kind of list, don't tell me, I know, whatever. And then this happens. Whereas, you know, in many instances, if you're not daily, and I say this, you won't think about things if you don't do them daily. You're not, and again, and the worst thing you want to do is say, hey, you know, I have a certain life, but then I'm going to put something in it. And it's a very simple thing. This is what we used to do. We used to do this back when I was in high school. They used to give us the babies, you know, get the egg and whatever, and you take care of the egg for home ec, the home ec health class, and you had to take care of the egg and do. No, people was booping and bopping the eggs all around because it wasn't something that everybody thought they was going to be a really good parent and they was going to be a good egg keeper or whatever. But a lot of times those things didn't happen because we were out of routine. So one thing I say is, remember that we don't know everything. The moms know. Listen, moms know because they are always, most of the time. That's why when they do something wrong, it's like the end of the world, because they saying, "What kind of mom was you to leave your kid in the car? What kind of mom was you for this to happen?" Because they are giving that mom giving her the power to say, you should always be responsible at all times because you're the mom. And sometimes as dads, we will kind of say, well, I let mom do it. But when we have to do it, will we be as responsible if it's not something we were already doing? So these are the parts that makes it so important for moms to sometimes say, to make us look as needed and necessary. The kid might want to go out somewhere, but are we going to be focused and engaged with our kid? We take them, I take 4 kids to the playground today. I had to make sure they didn't get into a fight with some other kids telling them it's their playground and multiple age kids. And you have to be focused. You can't be on your phone. You can't be doing something else. You have to be fully 100% present, engaged with each of those personalities, dealing with them and making sure not just you paying attention to them, but also the surroundings that you in. And those are the kind of things. But again, that's a part of doing that is being needed and necessary.
Just to add to that, Ron, in Broward County, Florida, and in most states, an infant can learn how to swim. If anyone on this program listens, you can put an infant and teach an infant how to swim. Everyone in this room, in this media, on the social media, watching this program should learn how to swim. It takes 7 days, and they have free programs like $10 to teach an infant how to swim. So again, you said it earlier, we have to be proactive, not reactive. It's not our norm, but guess what? You can take the kid to learn how to swim, and you learn how to swim too. I'm just putting things out there to say that we advocate for children and young teenagers and whatever. And sometimes these small steps can carry us to great heights. An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Food for thought.
No, I understand that, but when you start, I can't take something that's particularly a tragedy, that's circumstantial, and take it upon myself because it's not my tragedy to say it could have been, we could have preventable. I don't see how I'm not taking that child to that particular pool, even though he fell asleep. Even if he would have, I'm not saying if he would have stayed awake or whatever the case may be, but sometimes, tragedies are so, unexpected. Matter of fact, they wouldn't be tragedy if it wasn't unexpected. And so, my condolences will go out to any parent that loses a child, because I think at that particular rate, parents losing their children to drownings are very high in this country. You see it just about every summer, if not every month in Florida within itself. And so, are there some preventative tools we can put in place? Sure, I believe that we can. But I also believe there's opportunity for certain inventions. I think you do have certain inventions out there. I think if he would have put a strap,
is anyone talking?
If he would have strapped some floats onto that kid, onto his child, I believe that.
I can't hear him again. All y'all hear him, but I can't.
I can hear you, but you can't hear me. You can hear me, Rohan?
No,
yeah, I think he just can't hear you.
Okay.
I can't hear him. I can't hear nobody talking now.
We hear you.
Y'all hear me, but I don't hear him.
Hear yeah, everybody else hear me, but I can't.
But I hear you though.
You hear me?
I hear all y'all now, but I don't hear the guy talking.
I'm still talking. Femi, you hear me now? Okay. Hello? Okay. Well, back in, but and so I think, but also we gotta also depends on who was around. We gotta also rely on the dependence of the village, and that's any village, any type of community that will make sure that that others do the same thing for your children as you would do for theirs. And so I think when it comes to the village is one of the greatest preventive tools
Yes. Yes. I agree.
human and humanity would ever know. And I think when we utilize it the right way, I think we get the right results. But I don't want to say that or stereotype anyone for saying, oh, kids are more likely to die on their father's watch than the mother's watch, et cetera, et cetera. I think we do a lot the best we can with good intentions. You understand? But I don't think nobody who kid die from crib debt or when the parent rolls over and falls, rolls over in sleep on the child and kills the child. I don't think that was intentional. And so I think a lot of tragedies, if not most tragedies, are unintentional. And I think a lot of times if you had, just like you have a mother and father, and this is back to the original topic of how fathers are important, but community is important as well. And so the bigger the community, the safer the child. That's the way I see it. You understand?
I agree. Yeah, that's right.
And so we can, I think we have to first start by strengthening that child's community, or strengthening that child or our children's community by way of our mothers and father relationships before we can expect anything else from the outer community, which is our family, friends, neighbors, as well as enemies. And so I think, again, when we stop loving each other in silos, I think that's a better word to use. I want to say love. So when we stop loving each other in silos, you understand, we become a better humanity, if that makes any sense. And I think our children will become safer and better children because we were able to love each other more universally and globally than we were just circumstantially. And I'll leave that right there.
I'm glad you you put that out there, because most times people are fighting for children. They're fighting for kids. And I say to Ron, and I say to the group all the time, that word needs to be taken out. We need to advocate. Whether we disagree, which many people disagree over their children, when it comes to your child, we have to work together. That's a teamwork. If we don't see eye to eye, with the partners and so forth, we have to work together. The mom said, don't bring your child out to the pool. Don't bring your child out to the pool. And of course, maybe pride and ego got involved. And I said, it's my child. No, it's not your child. It's our child. So there's a lot of training that is needed. And of course, intervention. I love what Lightburn mentioned, that will definitely help to stop this drowning of our young children. So again, I'll say it over here: free swimming lessons at the pools. Every city have a pool. It's free or discounted. And don't be afraid to just stop. And Ron knows what stop means, right? Stop. Proceed.
Right, and I think this is a perfect example of where we are necessary and needed to initiate those type of things. Because on a day, these are kind of all those kind of things, and that's what I think I was trying to make that mention of. We know by nature they tell us, oh, we need to provide and protect. That's a part of protection. That's a big part of the tool of protection. And so when I look and think about like things that can affect the listen, we talk to our children about financial stability, who to do these and this and that. And sometimes we go from that playbook of these things that have been told to us to pass down to do with our kids. But there's an ability for us to do a whole bunch of things. Like you said, Rohan, take a kid. And I know a brother, the brother who is over our the brother and Zeta Zanu, the president of the bosses of that chapter. One time we was having a meeting and he was at the swimming pool with his kid. at the swimming lessons. And that's something that he do. That's another when we talking about being necessary and needed, that there are places that we have to step in to be necessary and to be needed. Not these traditional things that people say, oh, you need to come up with the money, you need to pick them up from school. There's additional things that I like to say that our kids absolutely need. Taking them to, we have this thing where I know a lot of guys like to take their daughters on a date, right? So they can show them that this is that's something necessary and needed. Mm-hmm. These are things that not just making sure they have some clothes and they eat food and is the crust of making us be necessary and needed. There's the things that we go beyond. It's really what's reinforced. And then there's people who want to do that who don't even have the ability to do it. They don't actually have the access to even do that because someone has decided that they're not necessary or needed. Imagine that.
One thing that's really key and that ties all this together. You ever heard people just say, just be present. That's all you need. Just be present. If someone is, and sometimes, I tell myself, if I'm gonna stay home or if I'm gonna go out and then my kids, family's at home, and sometimes I just settle with the fact that, you know what, let me just go home. Even if I'm gonna go home and sit on the couch and watch TV, at least my kids know where I'm at. They might be upstairs playing that video game, but they know I'm downstairs on the couch if they need something, so it ain't, every now and then, you might take them out to fish, hang out with them, do those type of things, be there at the swimming lessons, but just a simple act of being a call, whether it's a call, maybe not even a call away, being present, being able to be touched. This is my daddy. I'm downstairs. No, I could be downstairs. They could be doing their own thing. But the simple fact that they know daddy's downstairs, that does something, man. That energy does something. As opposed to a person never around, not sharing the same space with that person. It's kind of hard. Now, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was asking myself when you said something about the kid drowning after the mother was like, first of all, the mother knew that the dad was in no capacity to take the kid to the pool, right? The mother knew that. Because she just, women's intuition. But I'm just wondering, like, what could have been going on with that for that to happen? Was he 15%, or was he just under the influence or something?
It depends.
Does anyone even know that?
I can tell you the whole case.
I'd like to know what happened, man.
Well, what ended up happening? The mom was there on vacation in Florida. The mom wasn't there at the hotel, so they was at a hotel. I don't know if the dad. Let me say this: the mom and the dad weren't together though.
Okay.
So the dad might have been coming over to have his time visit with the baby. Mm-hmm. The older kid was not here. That's why the older kid did not come to the pool. Well, didn't come. The older kid would have came to the pool, right? If they was there to see their dad, whatever. But the mom wasn't there.
Right.
And she told him, he said, I'm going to take the baby to the pool. And she said, no, don't do it. And he did it anyway. And he didn't know. He was lying. He was kind of like, oh, man, but he didn't find out, and because I'm watching this all through the cam, he didn't find out until he was all the way at the jail that his child had passed. He was still at the pool. The mom was already at the hospital with the baby,
right?
But he was still, because the police detained him and wanted to find out what was going on and these things. And it was a very sad story. But I also thought about, most people don't understand his reasoning for probably being so adamant about, I'm gonna take the baby and spend my time with the baby, because if he's not been with the baby, he's trying. But it just, sometimes we have to think, right? Was that the best course to go spend time with the baby if you went to the pool and you fell asleep, unless you and the baby fell asleep together? But you can't let you can't let the baby like out of your sight at the pool, because I believe that he was in the pool with the baby though.
Of course.
Baby wasn't just in the pool. He was in the pool, and I think as he was in the pool, the baby got away from him. But then he was complete. But we don't. They didn't say anything about that part that you're saying, Femi. Did he take something, or was he on something? But he was not. Listen, he was knocked out because he had to be waked up by the police.
So Rob,
the baby had already been gone from the lady at the person at the hotel, seen the baby floating, came down, took the baby, and did everything, and the dad was still in the because I don't even know if they even knew that was the dad initially, because they was the only people in the pool, him and the kid.
So there's so much to that story, man.
But it's a lot. But I the part that I'm really saying is the ability to want to be necessary and needed.
For sure.
You have to do it well-rounded with a level head.
For sure.
That you don't just try to say, I'm going to get my time, I'm going to do this my way, blah, blah, blah. Because because this is not what you're not with your kid 100% of the time. You're not a custodial parent. The kid live with you, or you don't have a routine at the time the kid being with you. You may be setting yourself up for not even knowing if the kid had man, some mom don't even tell her that the kid got an allergy to something. Next thing you know, you giving the kid something, bang, bang, bang. And you like, I don't know what's wrong with him. What's that? And I'm saying these things like the moms have, in the case, it doesn't operate in the same if you, but I'm not gonna say that. That's not true. It does operate in the same way, even if you live in the house with the kid, because some dads are just present. They're not engaged. They're in the house, they work, say, hey, the boy needs some pants, but the mom don't tell you what size. What happens? You don't know what size pants he wear. You ain't did none of that. You ain't just giving them money, tell them take the card to do. And so these are the kind of things that sometimes yes, we might be able to provide the money for the pants, but it's also a phenomenal thing when we know what size pants, what size shirt they wear. These other things that sometimes may not be a part of our protecting and providing.
Ron, I'm glad you brought that up. And Femi, I'll just touch on what Ron said real quick to add. We know some fathers are in the house, some fathers are not in the house. Let's go there. 2, when you go to a pool, there has to be a lifeguard. Not every situation is like that, but that's preferably the situation you want to bring your child to a pool or your infant. 2, they have stuff you can put on the infant's arms. They have some lifeguards, approved lifeguards that the baby can float. Most of the times we want to do things right, and we know doing right is hard. Most people don't stop at a stop sign. They look right, look left, but they won't stop at a stop sign. Something simple. The stop sign never goes away. I say this in the program all the time. The stop sign is there and it says stop. Stop, think, observe, and proceed. So here we are. You can hire a lifeguard. We don't know of his financial situation. We can have a pool with a fence that a baby can't go into the pool. So being a father, it comes with a lot of responsibility. It's easy to do your thing and you're a dad, but it comes with a lot of responsibility. And most times, if you don't know, that's why we're here on this program. This fatherhood program will answer any question you have on this earth regarding being a father. It's just as simple. If we don't know it, we're going to find out and give you an answer, which I believe will be appropriate for your child. Yeah. In fact, I'll open it up. If there's a mom out there who don't have issues, we'll give her answer too. Right, Ron? So, with that said,
we will try to do our best to try to answer something that, you know, she may wanted to ask a father that she wasn't able, and she get an opportunity to ask 5 fathers. So she had a well-rounded answer. It won't be, you know, but it won't be the answer from that father, but she'll at least have just like the fathers, have a place to kind of run around what might be some of the thinking based on the situation.
Somebody said he was drinking in the chat. He had been drinking.
That's a whole other topic, because we know once you talk about drinking, many people drink for many different reasons. So here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate tragedy. Sometimes you can do all you can do, and you know, tragedies still happen. I think back when my first wife, before she passed away, when my daughter was first born, we were at Sears Roebuck. I remember this so vividly too. Sears Roebuck, we're shopping, we're looking for clothes for the kid and stuff like that. And I could tell you that it couldn't have been any more than seconds. All of a sudden, it's just the 3 of us at the time. All of a sudden, my daughter just like disappeared. She was just like gone. And my heart fell out of my chest. I looked at my wife. I said, "Where's Mick?" And she said, "I thought she was with you." And I said, "No, I thought she was with you." And we're all looking around. We're calling. We're in the middle of the clothing store. Mick, where are you? So I'm getting ready to run down the aisles. You know, I guess this is before, you know, they started, you know, really kidnapping kids and stuff like that. Come to find out, this is back. This was back when they had like these 4-way racks. She was playing hide and go seek. She was in the middle of one of those clothing racks. And then all of a sudden she popped out when, you know, I guess panic had really set in. And I'm like, how did this happen? You know, she just took it upon herself to just, you know, she couldn't have been no more than 4, 5 years old, but just took it upon herself at that moment to play hide and go seek with mom and dad at the store. But I say that to say is that had somebody taken her, I couldn't blame my wife. I wouldn't be able to blame me. Sometimes, and fortunately for us, my kid was just playing hide and go seek. Sometimes tragedies just happen, even when you're doing all that you can do. And you know, all we were doing was just at Sears Roebuck shopping for some clothes, and my daughter disappeared. It was the worst 2-3 minutes of my entire life. And I actually thought about buying one of those kid leashes. And I wasn't going to be ashamed into not buying one of those. But, you know, we had a talking to her, and, you know, she understood that, you know, when we're playing hide and go seek, you got to let us in on it. We all got to be in agreement. But I just say that to say sometimes, you do all you can do, and sometimes tragedy, I can't even get the word out. Stuff happens.
And Ed, you said something I think that is so important. And I think this is I'm always bringing this back to how a lot of times as some fathers they will speak to things directly as fathers, as husbands, right? Husbands and wives, right? The way that scenario worked out for you is you and your wife was there and your daughter decided to play hide and seek. Right? Imagine the idea of you being a father who just got your kid for the first time and they decide to go play hide and seek. You don't know that this is their normal thing they do with mom. You don't, because you have, again, and the reason why I will say to fathers, this is another point of staying on our topic, for you to be necessary and needed. You also have to inform yourself. And that means you got to communicate with the mom. No matter how much you might not want to. You might just want to say, hey, any things I need to know. Does she like to do what things? And yes, guess what? A lot of times you're not on good terms, they're going to have something smart to say, like, you should know this already. Right. But again, if we was married as a couple, I may not know it. So don't get, I think, caught up with sometimes the nonsense of stopping you from being necessary and needed. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes that's where we end up. We end up in that kind of place where we're trying to still live out our disagreement in our relationship. But we need to really be establishing a new relationship that's really based on our child. One that can allow us the ability and the needs to know what's going on. And guess what? Hopefully mom is going to ask us, because guess what? The parents don't know this. You find it if you're with your kid all the time, but sometimes parents are together, they find out their kids do different things with the different ones of them. It's not until they're together and they talk about these things and say, oh, this happened, that happened, how these things happen. But in this case, luckily you and your wife at the time was there together, and you guys both kind of panicked. Oh, was this a Adam Walsh type of thing? What's going on? Did somebody come in and snatch her? What is it? What? How does this operate? And in this case, and when you look at it in the other case, you imagine a dad who's not on good terms calling mom and saying, hey, I can't find the child, right? It's about to be, this is an opportunity to say, see, this is why I didn't want you to come and take in the first play, or take him, and blah, blah, and all that could happen. So you just gotta, work on good terms, because children, and I think this is the whole point I'm making in saying this, and what you brought up is that children will be children, right? And they will do the darndest things. That means that we need to be also engaged in the darn things that they might be doing. Mm-hmm. We need, listen, the people had a little thing that tie their hands to the kids' hands. So the kid, and people be like, oh, that looks so cruel. And it's not the kid is not a pet. Well, yeah, he might not be, but I know this. He ain't going too far. Especially if I know my child is rambunctious. They're a person who is engaging, intrigued about things and moving around. Listen, but again, these are the type of activities that get you to know your child in ways that you just don't get to know them by sitting in the house with them. Mm-hmm. Right? Like the engagement of going out, being in places, really educating them on things within the world that you guys experience together. As a father by himself, or as a whole family, and having those conversations as you're driving in the car. Did you see what happened there, daughter or son? And when this happens, this is what you need to do, and this is how daddy would do it, and this is what mom would. You have that opportunity, and that kind of development with your child ultimately makes you, in many instances, as the topic is today, necessary and needed, because you're thinking about things. Most men are thinking about things in a practical way,
Yes, Ron.
logical way, not emotional. A lot of times, men are not being. Sometimes they're not being too emotional.
I'm glad you brought it up, Ron. A quick example. My daughter, a teacher, teach both of them because I drive a manual car, and I said to them, if you're driving with someone and you're speeding and driving reckless, tell the person to stop and let you out of the car. I tell them simple. If that car can crash, it's going at a fast speed, plus another car going at a fast speed, that's equal death, right? And the mom told me one day they were driving, and some other family member was driving, and the child said, you need to let me out of this car. And I said, why? Why you need to let me out of the car? Why? Oh, my dad tell me when you drive fast, I'm going to die. So teach your children. The child wasn't with me, but the child said, I'm going to die. I'm not ready to die. So, right, as Teddy mentioned, we won't get it right all the time. But as Ron always says, do it better. Do it every other day better. What can you do? What can you do tomorrow better than what you did today? And and that's not hard. It's just making an extra effort to make it better. And as Ron had mentioned before, when you're in what I'd say issues with the mom or with your wife or the lady, she failed you, you failed her. We hear all the stories. When you two are apart, it's even harder to raise that child because then both of you are heading in different direction, and you have to turn up the volume to raise that child. Because that child still needs both of you. Whether you're in Washington, Philly, Florida, the show must go on. It's just that simple. So there's a lot involved. And Philly, just to add one, most infants or children who are autistic, they love water. I just wanted to say that to you. So meaning that water calms them. They'll go to water to play the water with the intent of calming, but they can't swim. And of course, we know what that result may be. So there are many things involved with that swimming thing that Lightburn mentioned, and we're talking about tonight. It's just being in the know. That's what goes a far way. Yep.
Hey, children or kids, they live for the pool. Like it's like I was so irresponsible with my children.
Agree that.
Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, now that we seem to agree that it's better for the father to be present and to share the same space as his daughter or son. What tends to complicate things is that, say we have a situation where the father is not with the mom, is living in a different location, they can't get along, and that father doesn't want the mother to bring another man around his son. But that might be doing the son a disservice, because if he was open-minded to the fact that, look, I'm not there, but I do realize that my son or my daughter could use a male figure, someone that and just goes along with, accepts the fact that he's not there. Don't get mad at her for bringing another man around. Obviously it'll be good to even get to know the person. Like, okay, I'm not there. I didn't get along with my baby's mother, but you know, I accept the fact that you're there, you get along with her. By default, my daughter's there or my son's there. So let me check you out. Let me see what you're about if you have your head on straight. And if I approve of you, then I'll let you, or I won't have a problem with you being with my baby's mother, and hence being around my son. Because I couldn't do that. I'm not there. But it doesn't happen. It's not that cut and dry, right? It's not that cut and dry. The typical man is not going to just go for that. Like, I'm not there. It even goes far as to say that I know some guys like, I'm not there. I'm a cock block whoever. Well, can't no. Well, they say I don't want another man around my son or around my daughter. I don't even know. I don't even care to know the person. So they're already defensive from the gate. But if they kind of broaden their horizon or broaden their, you know, they were a little bit mature, they should accept the fact that another man might raise their kid because they're not there, and they value the concept of someone being around. But that's probably hard. It's harder said than done. It's hard to, you know, for that to happen. What do y'all think about that?
I'm going to go to that quickly because I'm in a situation like that. And the best way I can answer that, again, is different. You look through different lenses, right? So Ron can look at it one way, Lightburn can look at it one way, 10E can look at it one way. Simple. I'm going to make it quick. You want to be around your children, even by phone, email, text, the best you can. There are some situations you can control. Unfortunately, control is a big issue in the world. Everybody wants power. Some people can't handle the power, but things don't always go the way you want it to go. I'm definitely an advocate of if the situation changes and there's someone else in your child's life, that person may not be the best character. That doesn't mean you hate the person, but you just want to be there and be present, that if anything happens, that father knows that you're there. The child have access to you, because it changes the narrative. When the child knows there is that the stepdad or stepmom knows there's no father or mom around. Is there an answer to that? Maybe yes, maybe no. But I would say to any father out there or any mom, make sure you're around. Make sure that they know you're there, because that's what's important at the end of the day. And for the control thing, also people, that word needs to be. That word is a dangerous word in relationships. You need goals. Replace control with goals, and I think we can do much better. That's my response to that.
Well, Femi, I'm actually on both sides of that. You can hear me, Femi?
No,
you can hear me?
He can't.
I mean, I know you can hear me.
I don't think that he can hear you. I think that maybe because I've been investigating. You on the phone, right?
Who,
no,
me?
I'm on my computer.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Oh, that's why.
And so some things may not come through because he's on the phone.
Right.
He's on the phone too?
No, he
on the computer.
Okay, everybody else on the phone?
No, everybody on the computer.
Or computer?
Everybody on the computer.
No, but being a stepfather myself, I get to see both of those narratives as it pertains to not wanting, or I guess wanting a child around your wanting men around your children and stuff like that. But I don't think that it's not so much that we don't want another man around our children, because the man that you are actually sets the presence, you understand, for the men who will be, right? And so if I'm going to be honest with you, the type of man that you are can be so and a lot of men don't know this, but the type of man that you are can be so powerful, or your presence can be so powerful that it will be felt in that woman relationship for generations to come. And the reason I say that is because when men see the type of father that you are to that child, it actually contributes, you understand, to that mother. And that'll let them know, like, wow, it actually says the type of character of men that she's with. If she have a winner, if her children have a winner for a father, then guess what? That also goes to her account as having a win, as having or choosing or having winners for lovers or something at that point. And so you can't. Your presence is never in danger and stuff like that. Any man that actually says that he thinks that he's going to be in danger, and I can't understand how you could be in danger if you got the advantage. It's almost impossible. How you going to be thinking danger if you add an advantage? It's very rare that people that have an advantage think they're in danger. And so if you, number one, you had the advantage. Number one, you was that woman lover before this man. You got children before this man. You understand? So I don't even see the logic or how a reasonable person can actually think that somebody at a disadvantage, you understand, can come and compete with me, compete with somebody at an advantage. A new guy would actually have to work his way and earn his way, you understand, to the level of trust or belief that somebody who have a child from that woman actually has. And I don't think we look at this thing from a common sense lens or even a scientific lens. So, and I'm not saying that having a child makes you valuable, but I'm gonna tell you something: being that child's father makes you automatically valuable, even if she hates your damn guts. See? Because it puts you at a certain advantage. There's a certain level of sacrifice and trauma that comes along with having children. And that's just at birth. So imagine, and I think we don't really highlight the traumas that comes along with being a parent, because there's just a psychological trauma of feeling like you're not enough or you don't even have enough. Those are traumas within itself that we don't talk about at all. We rarely talk about it. But if you ask the average parent, they're not going to feel, the average parent, and particularly the good ones, don't feel like they're enough for their children. And most parents feel like they could have done more, et cetera, even though they was at their best. No, your best can never be good enough, particularly when you have your child. And so that's the disadvantage that both of us are at as mother and father. But I think we be so busy fighting over the tragedy of the relationships, we don't even get to focus on the trauma that we both have in common as parents. And that's something that needs to be researched and guess what? And reconciled as it pertains, and it'll make us better parents when we start to empathize with each other and understand that, listen, we're in this battle, and I won't even say a fight together. You understand? But we're in this this family together, or whatever the case may be, because both of us want the same outcome. So it's got to be impossible for two people that want the same outcome to be fighting about a child. That doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
But I'm gonna leave it at that.
I think, and listen, gentlemen, we could go on and on and on and on and on and on, but I think we've come to the, we're in extra time of a 90-minute soccer match. So I want to go ahead and wrap it up, wrap things down. I mean, one thing I can say, this has been a very interesting and informative conversation we've had tonight. Not just talking about the idea of what it means to be necessary and needed, but also some of the things we need to be focusing on as fathers to be necessary and needed. We talked about, and again, this is how things always go. They don't just go into like one little scenario. We talk about things that's happening, things that's going on. I think that's the one thing that makes us a unique platform for people to participate and join in. We gotta figure out, there's gonna be some nips and bumps. I say this, guys, this platform we on is very peculiar, And the reason it is because when you might think that things are getting cut and you having bad connection, they are taking what you're saying, whatever you're doing, and pulling it all together. That's why at some point, when you look at the final product, there is no like and none of that. They pulling each person in, and I think sometimes that's why they, looking for strong internet connections and things of that nature. So there you have that information of that. Anything else before we begin to wrap up for the night?
I just like to add, this program, the think tank, has been really, really helpful to me as a father. I've learned, sometimes we think we know it all, but sometimes having a group of men to talk to who sometimes face the same hurdles that we face on a day-to-day basis really, really goes a far way. I must say, spread the word. I personally have learned a lot, and we gotta keep on trucking because there are many more fathers out there who need to know and who need to learn.
All right. Good job. All right. With that being said, fathers, let me just thank our quick sponsor really quick. Our good brother, Jag, attorney at law, Miami-Dade, Broward County. If you're looking for a lawyer in the South Florida area, check out Jag, attorney at law, Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. You can hit him at his email address, j.gaspar@jag1law.com, or his phone number 305-827-8087. Just check out his website. His website is www.jag1law.com for your legal situations in South Florida. Just a quick shout out to the Zeta Chi chapter. Zeta Chi, who is our partner for the Fatherhood Think Tank. Also, Zeta's our new partner for the think tank, the Nigerian Qs, and our other partner, the Omega Lambda chapter of Omega Psi Phi in Philadelphia. I just wanted to shout those people out because without them and their support to us, they're spreading the word, getting things out. And over the years, right now we're right into the crust of big things, getting more people on. With that being said, Father, I want to thank you again for joining us tonight. And with that being said, just repeat after me. I am.
I am.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of
I
honor.
am a man of honor.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of courage.
I am a man of courage.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Fathers, I say that I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You are.
I say that we are.
We
are.
Championship fathers.
Championship fathers.
Right.
When you see us doing this, we're holding our kids on our arms and our families on our back, letting you know that we are filling our tank up with knowledge and as much as possible so we can do the same for you. Thank you for joining us. Again, I want to say good night to administrator. I'm making you an administrator, Margot. Don't worry. Make you an administrator because you here every night, every Tuesday night. I'm going to go ahead and put your administrator position in there. Good night. Thank you for your dialogue in the chat there. I see we did have a message from Deshaun Farad, who sent us a peace message out there. Thank you for joining us tonight. And anybody else out there, again, you can come and get along into the dialogue, get into the conversation, make things happen. Don't feel any kind of way about it. We here, we together, we doing our thing for our people. With that being said, let me just say good night. Thank you for joining and see you next week on the Fatherhood Think Tank.
Good evening.
Great show, bro.
Peace.
Yeah, have a blessed one, fam.
All good.